Uh-oh. No audio there. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here with you today. Hey, Michelle, you're first in the comments today. Hope you're doing good and haven't had to go back to the dentist like recently. Announcement for those of you that are here. Hey, Joanne and any lurkers. I can only spare half an hour today. I have to cut out at 12:30 because I am really slammed with trying to make the deadline to finish this big wildscape. I was going to push everything out until next week, and it turns out that the guy that's going to do the hanging wires for this piece, because it's so heavy, is going to be having surgery. So tomorrow is my last day to get to him. So it has to be done and ready to be hung by about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So that's it. Hey, Philippa. Hey, Wendy. Let me switch my cameras around. And I'm a little discombobulated because my brain is on multiple tracks. There we go. I needed something easy, so it's literally going to be French knots, but at least they're not green, some variety, right? I'm thinking this piece is going to be very simple because I just don't want to, I don't want to say backwards, but this was something that was started a long time ago. And so my style has evolved a little bit. So I just kind of want to get this to a finished state so I can put it up and have it ready for Open Studios. Hey, Kat. So I have got these two colors, and what I'm thinking is I'm not crazy about this background here. This is a really old piece of dyed fabric. So I think I'm going to fill in with French knots, a variety of French knots. And then probably the only other thing I'm going to do on this is some French knots scattered around here, and then these wonderful, beautiful, sparkly beads, and just keep it very simple. So while I am here, let me know what's going on in your life. Hey, Sue. I tell you, I could not do the project I've been doing if I hadn't been going to PT and working out with a trainer, because it's exhausting. I worked as long as I could yesterday, and it's going to be a late night today because I've got to I've still got a few things to finish on it, and then I've got to stitch it to the canvas and then figure out how the edges are going to go. I'm trying to think of anything that I can do after they're done with it, that I can still work on. There's some things I can still do, but it has to go to the photographers on Friday morning. So not a lot of hours left. Hey, Kat says, have you ever considered making your work into art prints? That's my current goal with my work. Yeah, I'm actually going to have some canvas prints made of this big one because it's going to lend itself well to it. The trouble with some of my earlier things is they're either boxed in, which I just don't think makes an effective print. I could be wrong, but they just didn't look right to me for prints. Or they were like circles, which, I just didn't. So I think you have to kind of keep that in mind as you're creating to get something that's going to get that same effect. And then I have to decide, do I do a limited edition of prints, which I have a few artist friends that do that, or do I just do a print on demand thing? And I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. We'll see. But when I have it at the photographer, he'll have everything done so it's ready for print. And then because I'd like to have some prints available to sell at Open Studios. Yeah, and when I was putting things on circle, pieces of wood, it's like, well, that's not going to work. And then the boxes are nice, but plus they were small, and I just don't know that they worked as well for thinking about in terms of a print. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with sizes. I'm going to talk to my friend who's been selling prints of her pastels for years and get some suggestions. I think she does usually 2 sizes. She does like an 18 by 24, and she might do something larger. I'm not sure. But I think, future pieces, I definitely want to be able to have prints available. And then I have in the past done greeting cards of my eco prints, and those were really popular. So I might do the same thing. I might do a set of, blank note cards with this on it. What size might people be interested in, Joanne? That's a good question. So I'm mostly happy with the way the big pieces come together. There are things that are probably only going to bug me and nobody else is going to say anything about it, but I know they're going to bug me. But there's always that, right? Hey, Tanya, how you doing? You missed my announcement. I'm only going to be here for half an hour today so I can finish my big project. So if I did print on demand with something like Printful, then all kinds of things would be available. But then if I'm thinking more like a gallery artist, then you do a limited edition. So I just don't know. My biggest fear now, I'm like going over the back of it a gazillion times, knotting everything in like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times, and then tying it to something else because I have this nightmare of things falling off. Oh, 8.5 by 11 prints for your altered frames. That's a neat idea. I could maybe do that with some of the smaller ones. I'm going to have to, when my brain can think of something else, literally, I have canceled everything going on in my life except for working on this and then working out. I have mixed feelings about it, and I mostly am in love with it. There's a few elements that I wish that I was going to be able to put on, but because of creating it to hang on the wall, they didn't look right, like my branches, which I love. So it just means I'll have them for another piece, but right now it's a little frustrating. Composition wise, there's some things that bother me that nobody else are going to pay any attention to. The grasses are something that bothers me that nobody else is going to notice. So it's mostly, that kind of an artistic, wah kind of thing. And I get over that usually pretty quickly. Yeah, when this is done, I need to fill out the application for the show. There's 2 that I want to enter that are due on Tuesday. So I'll do that. And then I have to clean my studio clean house and the studio because we're hosting Easter dinner. And then I have a photo shoot that was postponed, and she's coming the day after Easter. So there'll be a lot of cleanup, and then I'll collapse. Hey, Barbara. She says, hi, Susan, in chat. And it says, we're out. Yeah, we're often our worst critics. Absolutely. I agree. Maybe I'll just keep doing that, and then I'll pile some other ones on top. Hi, Julia. Happy to see you here today. Sue said, I'd say there are very few creative projects we are 100% happy with at the end. Yes, I agree. But then, that's, to me, it's like this construction of this project has taught me so much that I'm going to carry forward to more future projects. I mean, the next really, really big one I do is going to be all in whites. And that will solve one problem and create, I'm sure, some different ones. Barbara, thanks for the translation. She says, Julia says, good evening from Turkey. It's a little past 10 p.m. right now. But I'm not going to start the next great big one right away. I'm going to clean house, clean the studio, get past Easter and the photo shoot, and then I can relax and do some nice things for my husband, who has been so indulgent through all of this project, and spend more time with Tally and have a better balance. But This was the same way when I was writing. I would get right down to the deadline when something had to go in, and I would have an issue where I was just like slammed. Not sure. Oh, that was just part of the, okay. Thank you, Tanya. She said, reprint on demand versus gallery, just my 2 cents, but 2 pence. But if you are an artist, you can do whatever you want. Do both if you want. Rembrandt, if Rembrandt had had the internet, I'm betting he would have had a website. Yeah, it's more a matter of, you know, if you sell print on demand stuff, people are not going, you know, they're used to that at being a lot cheaper. Whereas a limited edition print, you can sell for a few $100s, you know, where my big piece is going to be in the thousands. And say a print that was the same size might be 500 if it was a limited edition, but if it was print on demand, you'd probably only pay a couple hundred. So I didn't have to weigh some things out and decide. And, you know, and I might do some, you know, some pieces, you know, as just print on demand, and some pieces as I, you know, grow differently. Kat says, do you have any advice on art composition? I'm designing a wall moss piece now. You know, I'm one of these people that just keeps dinking with it until it looks right or close enough. If you're not on a time crunch and you can take pictures of it and then, you know, print them out and look at them, you know, at different times of the day, I'll do that. I'll leave them in the studio and I'll walk by and think, okay, that needs to be moved. I've taken so many pictures of this piece in progress, not to share the progress, but because I'm checking composition. The thing that's been challenging for me on this one, since I use so many discontinued yarns, is trying to keep a good sense of balance of colors so that you're not weighted, unless it's part of the design to say have, you know, if I wanted to have this all dark here, to me, this looks unbalanced. I've got all dark and all light. So I'm always trying to balance the values of the colors. I'm excited you're doing a wall piece, Kat. You are really, really pumping stuff out. Michelle says, I like the 5x7 greeting card size. Those are nice because you can put them in a small frame. Tanya said, each piece is an individual. Some you won't mind cranking out on print on demand. Some you want to keep unique. Yes. Hey, Terry. Yeah, we got a lot of people here today, and it makes me wish that I was going to be able to stay longer, but I know I have to be mindful of my time crunch. Julia says, it's bad that I don't know what you write. I just write things as they come to my mind. We need to get her using Google Translate so she could see what's being shared. Yes, it's very hard for me to keep something simple. I'm always the more is more. So keeping this to a small amount of stuff. But, you know, if I would not go so overboard, things would go faster. It's like there's so much that I would add to the great big piece. It's not a matter how much time I have. I only have until 2:00 tomorrow. That's it. You know, if I had my way and I had another week for the big one, that would make me happy. But I've got until 2:00 tomorrow because I have to get out to the framers before they close so that they can put the mounting stuff on for me. And then I go to the photographer on Friday at 11. So, you know, another week would have been nice. But it didn't happen. So we'll just have to, you know, hopefully make it. There's some things I can do after I get it back from the photographer. So that's good. But I would say, you know, the stuff that I can't add, I'm okay. There's just a few little things I want to do, like to my rocks, to hide the holes, which I like to do. Well, on the 15th is when I have to have the application in. But before I can do that, it has to be photographed. And before it can be photographed, it has to have the mounting stuff on it to be hung. So that's the way all that goes. So there's a few things I can do after it's been photographed, but I don't want to change it, after it's been photographed. But there's some cleanup stuff that I can do after it's been photographed. I'm here because I committed to be here every Wednesday at noon. So, and I was going to push the photographer out, but when I called the framers yesterday, the guy that's going to do the mounting stuff is going to be out for like 6 months because he's having shoulder surgery, and tomorrow's his last day. So, it happened. I am dedicated to this chat. You guys have supported me through so much that, I couldn't just leave you hanging. Well, I could, but it wouldn't have been very nice of me. All right, let's just... I think this is going to be good. This is... and I haven't done French knots in ages because I've been putting the big piece together. So this is actually kind of a good cool down time for me. Oh, I was going to show you this netting. So this is what that netting is from. So it's a tubular thing of some kind. So I thought I was going to do more of it, but I don't think I am. Yeah, Sue, I hope things go well at the framers. Photographer, he's a rock star. I've worked with him several times in the past, so I know it'll be a great experience. And I go home with the photos that day. We, any little tweaking that has to happen, we do it right there side by side. And it's only one piece, so that should be a half hour in and out. The framers, I'm a little nervous. Sorry, excuse me. But because I wanted this thing to have these irregular edges, and then I've got to figure out how I'm going to support it. So I've got a stretched canvas that first I have some latch hook rug canvas, and before the live, I just traced the size of the stretched canvas around it so that I can stitch it to the back of this piece. And that will be what can come around and get stapled to the canvas. Plus I'll be stitching through the canvas. And then I'm going to have all these raw edges that may flop around, but I won't know until I get the canvas on there. And so when I do that, I will maybe have to apply some more stretcher bars, in places, some more wood to kind of support it. I guess we'll see. Tanya said, we would support you through that as well, but a break is nice and it's great to catch up with you. This piece looks great, by the way. Thank you. Terry said, last week I committed to a painting class this coming Sunday. Boy, the time flew by. Yikes, I understand the pressure. It's like you think you have all the time in the world, and and I am slow. I mean, I know that. There are stitchers that just, Kat is so prolific. I can't believe how fast you're working on your things. Hey, Malaya, happy to see you here. Lurking and working. That's a good combo. But if I wasn't working on big piece, I think probably the next thing I'm going to do after this one, and I'm done with all the things with the big piece, is I'm going to probably take the white piece that is that I goofed up. I don't say I want to goof, that I wasn't thinking compositionally, and I have the focal point is like right in the center, and it's not. It doesn't please me. So I will probably start messing with that next. I'm going to be tackling some more unfinished projects. Yeah, it's not going to be framed. It's only there's no frame. You will see just raw edges. They're just putting on, because the piece is going to be so heavy, they're going to handle making sure it's got the heavy duty stuff. Barbara's translated for Julia. She said, Susan is a hardworking person. I wonder if she worked at another job and retired. Yes, Julia, yes. My husband didn't employ me. I took care of the house and children. Of course, I didn't have my own dollars. Kat says, I'm not that fast. I just don't post more about my stuff until I'm closer to the finish lines on projects. I'm sneaky. Well, that's one way to do it. Terry, Tanya wants to know, are you attending or teaching? I guess, was this one that you were teaching again? You haven't been teaching for a while. I know that you have enjoyed that in the past. Hey, Hummer. Glad I got to see you for a little bit. I'm cutting this one short today so I can go work on finishing my big piece. And I'm hoping, the next time I do something like this, of course, if I decide to finish it off on stretched canvas the same way, I will have learned a lot that I can, carry forward. At least, oh, you're guiding. Okay. Is this at the same location you've taught at before, Terry, or do you have a new one? All right, so I think this is going to be good. And I think I'll just take a different purple and kind of do some small ones on top. I just don't know in here. Yeah, I might go ahead and fill that with French knots too. Miss Tally is happy. She gets to go for a walk, her noon walk. Tell you, this dog can tell time. At noon, she starts giving my husband the evil eye. It's like it's time to go. I'm kind of glad we're hosting Easter dinner because that will double motivate me to get everything cleaned up before this photo shoot. The photo shoot I'm excited about. She's going to do some studio shots with me, and we're going to do some outside in the garden, and we'll do some with my work. Terry said people won't really be learning, just having fun. It's a friend's daughter's birthday. Nice. Hummer said, I'm doing baskets out of thread for Easter. Oh, how fun. Are you using the soluble interfacing, or are you doing something different? Oh, Julia, I'm sorry. Sue said, Gracie has an internal clock too. Treats must be dispensed on time. Yes, absolutely. All right. So let's see. I kind of feel like I need to do the same color in between here. Yeah. All right. I'll probably save that for next time because I think that's a good place for me to stop. Tanya said, random side comment. Hubby is away for 4 days and I decided I wanted to make beef stroganoff for the first time. Knocked it out of the park. Best stroganoff I've ever had. Oh, and you get to eat it all yourself because he's gone, right? Good job. All right, people, I'm sorry I can't stay longer today, but I am going to call it because I need to get back on my hands and knees because I'm doing the bottom parts right now. It's quite the process. Oh, you're just stuffing. They're gorgeous, but I can only stand to do one at a time. The nerve block didn't work. Yikes. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I am on my hands and knees. I have to, if I've got a pom-pom, and I put it on the thing there and I have to go back and forth, but I have to go around to the other side and it's just time consuming. Barbara said, thanks for the stream. Go for broke with your piece. Congratulations. Oh, Tanya said he's also vegetarian, dislikes creamy dishes, so still all mine. Wendy said, thanks, Susan. Thanks so much. Hey, Andrea, sorry I didn't see you. Bye, all. I will keep you posted. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.